This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.
Good morning, Lynners. I hope you are ready to jump right in as we have several big stories to cover, including a multi-jurisdictional arrest and future plans for the city, framed by several multicultural celebrations. We even included some education, featuring the Lynn Tech chapter of SkillsUSA on the Lowdown. Without further ado, here's the news for Friday, February 21st, 2025. Federal charges were unsealed the afternoon of February 19th against 24 leaders, associates, and members of the Trinitarios Gang, a violent transcontinental criminal organization. 22 individuals were charged with racketeering conspiracy in connection with 6 murders and 11 attempted murders. Chapters of the Trinitarios were uncovered in Lynn, Lawrence, Boston, and Haverhill, and allegedly underwent efforts to take over communities and challenge rival gangs. This investigation also alleges that Trinitarios members have committed at least 10 homicides in Essex County over the last decade, in addition to multiple attempted murders, kidnappings, robberies, and shootings. The charge of racketeering conspiracy can carry a sentence of up to life in prison, 5 years of supervised release, and a fine of $250,000. While the charge of a robbery or Hobbs Act conspiracy allows for a sentence of up to 20 years in jail, 3 years of suspended release, and a fine of up to $250,000. Most importantly, for a local audience, 16 Trinitarios members were charged with 6 of these murders, including the 2 double murders in Lynn back in 2023. In a statement by Police Chief Chris Reddy, quote, "Today's operation marks the culmination of an extensive investigation, demonstrating the strength of our collaborative efforts to combat gangs and violent criminal activity. These significant arrests will undoubtedly prevent further harm to our community." Mayor Nicholson added, quote, "The development of the Trinitarios as an increasingly violent organization has plagued our region for years. The eruption of gang violence in Lynn in 2023 was particularly tragic. Nothing will replace the losses of Abraham Diaz, Andriel Herida, Kyle Mel, and Isaiah Acevedo, or change how many lives were forever impacted by such heinous acts. Knowing that the affected families and our community's calls for justice have been answered and that those responsible will be held accountable is incredibly significant," end quote. On a lighter note, the City of Lynn, in collaboration with Lynn Creative Cities, have officially launched the 2025 Lynn Spire Grants. These grants are designed to support local community groups and artists with the goal of, quote, "shaping spaces that foster community engagement, cultural expression, and artistic innovation," end quote. Now in their 3rd year, the total funding available is $60,000, and grants will be distributed in amounts ranging from $1,000 to $10,000. Residents of Lynn, those who work or operate in Lynn, creatives, emerging artists, or groups based in Lynn, and community change makers are all eligible. The application is available online in both English and Spanish and is due by March 9th. Grant award notification will take place on March 24th, and the deadline for project completion is December 31st. The Lynn Library hosted a children's Lunar New Year celebration, giving the next generation a chance to learn more about another cultural celebration represented here in Lynn. A group of kids heard a story explaining the significance of the Lunar New Year before participating in several traditional crafts and games.
So for us, you guys celebrate New Year. For us, Lunar New Year is similar. It's a New Year celebration for our Southeast Asian countries. Some of the countries, including Vietnam, China, Korea, and then some other Southeast Asian country. So for us, it is a really big celebration. It's like a Christmas for Southeast Asian community. So today I bring in to the Lynn community, especially the Lynn Public Library, a Lunar New Year celebration. During this session, so we did with an interactive reading session. As an author, I wanted to introduce my book here. It's called The Magic Update, a children's book, a bilingual children's book talking about Lunar New Year celebration. I read this book for the kids. I show them different elements that we highlight in the book or highlight in the Vietnamese or Asian culture. We also have a food taste, which I show the kids some of the different food that we have during the Lunar New Year. For example, egg rolls, or snacks like candies or some of the dry fruit that we have. We also have the traditional game, which is tossing ring. And one of the fun one is actually the kids get to learn how to use chopstick and then testing their chopstick skill. We, especially during this diversity climate change, we wanted to be heard, we want to be present, we want to be seen. So I think that having an event like this is very important because, we wanted to introduce kids to diversity perspective, cultural and traditions, so they can learn and they can celebrate and eventually they can be immersed and then appreciate it. I wanted to say a huge shout out and thank you to the Lynn Cultural Council because without their support, I wouldn't be able to have this opportunity to connect with the Lynn Public Library and also to bring in this event, to this celebration to the Lynn community member. Thank you for the support and thank you for promoting diversity and cultural event in your community.
Do you want to get more involved in your community? Mayor Nicholson, in partnership with the City of Lynn's Department of Community Development, LHAND, and the Citizens Advisory Board, invites you to give your input on what the community needs. This can be done in a multitude of ways, such as attending a public hearing or community forum. The community public hearing and community forums will provide an introduction to the city's 5-year Consolidated Plan and annual action plans, while also giving constituents the opportunity to express their opinions on economic development, housing needs, and other priorities in the city over the next 5 years. A virtual community forum will take place on March 4th at 11 a.m., with an in-person public hearing on March 5th at 5:30 p.m. Additionally, residents can complete the Community Needs Survey, available online in both English and Spanish until March 7th. One topic that has been dominating headlines in recent weeks is immigration. Mayor Nicholson doubled down on his support of the immigrant community in a recent article, saying, quote, "Lynn will be a city where people feel safe and comfortable to live, work, learn, and play. Lynn will be a city where all community members have the housing, transportation access, social connections, and educational or economic opportunities to live a fulfilling life," end quote. To this end, the City of Lynn has released a comprehensive list of immigration resources, covering needs ranging from legal assistance to emergency planning packages. Some of the organizations providing the services include the Lynn Rapid Response Network, the ACLU, the Northeast Justice Center, and Lawyers for Civil Rights. For a complete list of organizations and the services they provide, head to lyntv.org or the City of Lynn's website. For those looking to learn more about African American history, the CMCC is the place for you. Through the end of the month, they are displaying clippings from old Ebony magazines, covering stories such as Brown v. the Board of Education and the founding of Black History Month back in 1926.
Ebony Magazine photo exhibit, that we have here at CMCC. It consists of over 100 different pieces that were taken from the original Ebony magazines. We have an ongoing exhibit that we exchange, but we only have like 50 up at a time. But it kind of outlines and illustrates many different important events over the history of the African Americans. Ebony Magazine is now defunct, and with our collection, we are claiming that we have the largest collection of Ebony Magazine's photos outside of the originals. You would not find it at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. You probably would not even find this at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. But we do have it here in Lynn, Massachusetts. You have access to it for you, your children, your friends, anybody that wants to know anything about African American history. Madam C.J. Walker, she was the first black woman millionaire in America, and she earned her fortune with cosmetics and hair care. You've heard the famous Brown versus the Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas. This is the #1 plaintiff of that case, Linda Brown. She's an elementary school student that stood up to segregation. Carter G. Woodson started Black History Month, actually started out as a week in 1926. Black History Month had evolved from Black History Week. It actually started as the Association for the Teaching of African American Life and History, but it was cut down to Black History Month. They are called the Little Rock Nine. 1954, they had to be escorted by the National Guard because people were so offended just to go to school with them. They integrated Central High School in Little Rock. If you want to see more, please come down, see me. On the 28th is our last day, and then after that, you can just call my number and make an appointment, bring a group, bring yourself. Everybody's welcome. It's American history, and it's something that we all should know.
Are you interested in having a tree planted? Then you're in luck, as the City of Lynn is building an urban forestry program to assess the tree inventory, plant trees, treat diseases and pests, and much more. Currently, tree plantings are occurring in the spring and fall seasons. Timing of the planting is also dependent on demand, and if multiple trees are requested for a single location, it is more likely they will be completed all at once. If interested, residents can fill out a new tree request form, which adds their address to the Lynn planting tree list. From there, the location will be assessed to determine if it is suitable for planting. If it is, a species will be chosen and a time will be selected by DigSafe in the next possible spring or fall planting season. The St. Mary's girls basketball team again captured the Spartan Classic Championship in a landslide 74-24 victory against Whitman-Hanson. Both teams started slow offensively. The Spartans only had a 23-16 lead going into halftime. But relentless defensive pressure by the hosts limited the Panthers to only 8 second-half points. At the same time, the St. Mary's offense came alive, grabbing second-chance points and fighting for loose balls. When it was all said and done, Bella Awumi scored 15 and was named tournament MVP, while Lily Norton was named to the all-tournament team. The Tech Tiger girls recorded win number 14, 50-48 over Shawsheen Tech. Angalize Begum continued her dominant season with a 20-point performance. As of the 18th, the Tigers are ranked 44th in Division IV. On the other side of the spectrum, the English girls fell 44-35 to Malden over the weekend. Lynn Tech boys are the latest to clinch a spot in the playoffs, earning their 10th win of the year, 73-56 over Whittier Tech on the 14th. After beginning the year 2-7, the Tigers did a complete 180, winning 8 of their last 9 games to secure a playoff berth. Travis Sanchez lit up the scoreboard with 18 first-half points, 24 in total, and 8 rebounds. Undefeated no more. The Spartans tasted defeat for the first time this season at the hands of inner-city rival Lynn Tech. In December, St. Mary's escaped with the win, but in the rematch, it was the Tigers who came out on top 68-64 to capture the Spartan Classic crown. No one was stopping tournament MVP Giovanni Jean, who scored 25 of his team's 37 first-half points in a lights-out performance. St. Mary's was hanging around, down only 5, 50-45 at the end of 3. J.J. Martinez netted 20 for the Spartans and cut the deficit to 2 in the fourth. But Tech responded with a triple and layup by Jean. With 44 seconds remaining and a 65-60 score, the teams traded free throws before Sanchez went 1 for 2 at the line to put the Tigers up by 4 late. While the Rams went on the road and came home with a double-digit 61-49 victory over Melrose, moving to 14-4 on the year. Cam Rucker and Shai Bab were the standouts for Classical, contributing 16 points apiece. The Rams were all over the court, putting equal emphasis on both offense and defense, as evidenced by Devontae Taggers, who was all over the glass, collecting 11 rebounds. They escaped enemy territory with their 15th win, 64-60 over Chelsea on Wednesday night. Bab was again the leader, posting a double-double, 16-point, 13-rebound night. This season, the powerhouse Rams won 9 games by double digits and earned the 16th seed in Division III. While at 8-12, the Boy Bulldogs are officially out of the postseason, finishing up the regular season with a 78-60 loss to Catholic Memorial over the weekend. In hockey, the 13-6-1 Spartans cleaned up on enemy ice, emerging with a 6-0 shutout over Malden Catholic. Stephen Nason led the offense with 2 goals, as goalie Matthew Smith Jr. tied the all-time school record for shutouts with 12. They finished up the year with a consolation win in the Cardinal Classic 3-1 against Central Catholic behind a 2-goal night by Drew Waters, while their girls team battled to a 1-1 tie with Arlington Catholic. If you know anyone at Lynn Tech, it's likely you've heard of SkillsUSA. This national organization has chapters across the country, and in Lynn they are known for their impressive displays and competition, as well as giving back to the community. We had 3 of their senior leaders on the Lowdown to discuss the impact of SkillsUSA and what it has taught them over the course of their high school career. Good afternoon and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, and today we have on 3 members from the Lynn Tech chapter of SkillsUSA. Thanks for coming on the show.
Of course.
Great. So, first things first, would you all mind just introducing yourselves and saying what your position is within the team?
Yeah. So my name is Andy Barrios, and I serve as the chapter president.
Great.
My name is Justin. I serve as the chapter's vice president.
My name is Kayla Chajon, and I am a leadership team member.
Awesome. So for anyone who may not know, would you be able to just give a brief overview of what, SkillsUSA is, what your mission is, what you do?
Yeah, of course.
So it's a student-led organization that really empowers the students to become, responsible leaders, skilled professionals, most importantly, and then community members.
Great. So we see your work sometimes, and it's very impressive, all the events you run, all the things you do. And now I'll ask specifically, just going down the line, Andy, starting with you, what is involved in your roles specifically?
Yeah, so as chapter president, of course, I have to not only make the agendas for the meetings, but understand what we're going to talk about, what we want to do, and kind of just not only delegate work to our members, but also lead them and for them to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and just try and, be the best person to help them when they need it.
Yeah, so as vice president, we basically do almost the same tasks, but I'm just there to, help him out, and then.
Great.
So as a member, we all kind of try to uplift the team. Like, we all have individual strengths. I am also the social media coordinator, so I help in that aspect by making sure that we keep the public and the school very up to date with what's happening so that everyone really feels that community and doesn't feel like we're above anyone. Like we all contribute and we all rely on each other.
Yeah. And how many members do you have in your chapter? Do you know?
Yeah, so actually we are 100% participation. So that means we actually pay to have everyone be a member.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. That's awesome. So everyone in the school.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. And then you three are all seniors too, correct? So
We
you're
are.
also
Yeah.
on the last leg. You're almost there.
Yeah, scary.
And how has it been being a member of SkillsUSA? You were also just voted a 2024 Chapter of Excellence, which congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Yes. So, but how has that experience been?
Honestly, with my experience, it's been amazing. I know going into Skills, not really knowing much about it as a freshman and sophomore, it really has changed me as a person. I was more of a timid and quiet person, but being into Skills, they have taught me a lot of have confidence in myself and to just have a conversation with another person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same here. So before starting SkillsUSA, I was the same. I was just your regular high school student. I'd go to class, I'd do my work, and throughout SkillsUSA, I really learned how to put myself out there and really put myself out my comfort zone. And because of that, I've changed a lot and become a better person and even a leader.
With my experience, I feel like in the beginning of my high school, I was very reserved in all senses, especially because I never really knew what I could contribute to the school.
Yeah.
I was surrounded, through Skills, around a bunch of motivated students who not only wanted to see me succeed, but we all relied on each other to succeed. And I genuinely feel like because of that, I was able to create a really family-like bond, and we're all very close. And to me, that's the most irreplaceable thing.
Yeah. I definitely get that vibe whenever we go to your events. And you're all definitely much more poised and put together than I was in high school, so good job with that. And you have these pillars like leadership, community service, really the pillars that it's built upon. And you actually have some competitions coming up next month into March. That's a big piece of it, but how do those work?
Yeah, so of course we have to go through districts if you are competing in CHOP, which is a test. It's compiled of OSHA, SkillsUSA tests, and of course your shop tests, of what your shop consists of. And then states is more of a, you actually get to see who you're competing against, and you're in front of judges doing what you're doing. We all three compete in leadership competitions.
Okay.
So for us, we do portfolios. He does a speech, but we make portfolios about what we've done this year, how we did it, and we present it to a judge, just tell them our experience and, what it consists of.
And have you participated in these competitions before, like the leadership ones as well?
Well, I personally started off sophomore year competing in my shop. So I did a shop competition, and then last year it was a leadership competition, and this year it's a different type of competition. So it's within leadership, but it has more to do with speaking and answering the things about our chapter that people might be curious about. So there's a lot of unique experiences, and each one entails something that in itself is so gratifying.
Yeah, and how she started as well, I also did a shop competition, which was a CPR and first aid. However, I didn't pass the district's test, but I was able to participate in a leadership competition, which was community service, and it was just awesome, just presenting what we did over the year.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be really rewarding. And then just real quick, what are your three shops, just for reference?
So I am in advanced manufacturing.
Great.
And I'm in health assisting and technology.
I'm in radio and television.
Awesome. Just as a good reference point, you're talking about the different skills that you've compiled. Yes. And even, Justin, you just mentioned it, the community service aspect, huge piece. You did a holiday party last December. You do the media expo. Are there any events or any things that you do that tend to be your favorite, and why would that be?
Yeah, so, you just mentioned the Christmas party. You know, I've always loved that project ever since, you know, the first time we did it, just because, you know, I remember not growing up with much. I know how it is, you know, going to something like that. So the fact that I'm able to help and, you know, do something similar and, you know, see children that I know what it's like to be that child and to give them toys, you know, that will always be my favorite aspect of, you know, any of our events.
Yeah, same here with Andy with the Christmas party. You know, I grew up not having, you know, I wasn't as fortunate to have like those, you know, big Christmases. So really seeing, you know, those children like live the life like I couldn't have really like brings joy to my heart, and it was just an amazing event.
Yeah.
I think most of the team would tell you it's a Christmas party. It's not only like the best opportunity that we bond as a team because we all like are so invested in it, but also like it's one of those events where you connect with the people you're helping, and it motivates you and it motivates us to continue to do that hard work throughout the year, especially when it's so time consuming. So they really give us life.
I remember I was filming that this past year, and I don't think there was one person not smiling. Everyone was so into it, and you could just tell how much people love it, which is awesome. And I will ask, the events or the things you put on, are they consistent every year? Do they change? Does the group decide what you do?
So each year we look around our community and we choose one problem we'd like to tackle.
Okay.
So whether it's teachers who need more gratitude, or it's prevention because of the violence in our community, or it's like, it all centralizes like around a theme.
Okay.
And each year we try to correlate events to that theme.
And what was the theme last year, since it is early this year?
So last year it was prevention at first, but you know, going into more in the year, we changed it to family because we realized that if we really wanted to tackle, you know, preventing violence, we really wanted to, you know, do that where it starts with like family, you know, bring family together and just have that bond.
Well, at least from what I could see, it seemed like you definitely did that. And I know I do have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else that I hadn't mentioned that any of you wanted to touch on?
No.
No?
Well, this year's theme is nourishment.
Yeah.
If
Oh, okay.
you guys were curious.
Yeah.
Yes, that was good. It's good I asked that part. Well, it's nice to hear that I covered it all. And again, SkillsUSA, you do such amazing work. I always love going to your events, and I'm really excited to see what you guys do in your last few months.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate that.
Of course. And thank you for coming on. And once again, this has been the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Tomorrow, the 22nd, celebrate Black History Month at the North Shore Juneteenth Association's family-friendly paint event, taking place from 2 to 4 p.m. at Old Time Restaurant, 612 Boston Street. Participants will learn about the symbolism behind the Juneteenth flag and get a chance to paint the flag, along with other arts and crafts activities. They will also get lunch and be introduced to a Black painter through a read-aloud story. This is a free event, but registration is still required. Calling all parents with children aged 3 to 6. Join the virtual Power of Parenting program on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:30 a.m. to 12:45 p.m., beginning on February 25th. This free program includes a dozen parenting workshops and discussion sessions. A graduation ceremony complete with professional clothing from Dress for Success or Suits and Smiles, plus eligibility to earn a $50 Amazon gift card. Space is limited, so register early. The Community Development's High Rock Tower Observatory Starry Nights program is back, beginning Wednesday, February 26th. From 6 to 8 p.m., get your chance to look through the telescope and see the stars, as well as planets such as Jupiter and Mars. The dome has an occupancy limit of 15, so registration is required. For those who cannot or do not wish to climb the stairs, there will be a secondary telescope set up on the lawn beside the tower. The event will be canceled if the forecast calls for rain or cloudy weather. A confirmation email or cancellation will be sent to all parties the day of the event by 2 p.m. With that, we conclude this episode of the LCTV News on a high note. To learn more about the events listed above and all those on our community calendar, in addition to our videos on demand, head to lyntv.org. Stay informed of breaking news and announcements from across the city by following us on social media at Lynn Community TV. If your sole focus is videos, then Lynn Community Television on YouTube is the place for you. I'm Danny Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.